All right. Well, hello, everybody. And thanks for having me, Ninja VA. My name's Andrea, and I am a bookkeeper. I specialize in bookkeeping for trades professionals, and that's mostly because I was a trades professional. So I definitely understand it. I had a landscaping business for about 6 years, and I quickly hired a bookkeeper after trying to manage my own QuickBooks online. And then I was a business coach for a house called Pro. And I did some freelance business coaching for landscaping companies. And one of the biggest pieces that I noticed during my coaching was so many business owners were not leveraging or did not have or were not leveraging their numbers. So they just weren't sure really if their numbers were accurate, or they didn't have really clean numbers at all altogether. Bookkeeping was like on the list of things that they needed to look into, but they haven't kind of taken that jump. Or they had a bookkeeper who really didn't know much about their trade or their business model, so it wasn't really set up to give them the clarity that they needed for growth. And so that's kind of how BILT Books was born, was to specifically work with trades professionals and help them be able to leverage their numbers for business growth. So we're excellent at our craft, right, as trades professionals, but the numbers behind the operation is kind of where that next level of business can be won or lost. Some of the other coaches that I worked with was some of the top recommendations of who to hire first to help you grow your business. Number one was help answering the phone. And I know Ninja VA definitely helps with that. And number two is a bookkeeper, right? So that we can get some visibility as far as what is going on in our business. And that's kind of how we can start getting to that next level of growth, is being able to look at the data and make informed decisions on that data. So I've watched dozens of trade businesses through coaching with excellent potential kind of come to a little bit of a plateau, right? I can't get out of the truck, or I can't seem to grow to the next level. And a lot of that is because they're sort of driving in the dark, right? They don't have data to help them provide a roadmap of what to do next. Can I afford that hire? Can we, purchase a building, or can we, start renting? Can we up level in this way? So it kind of creates a bit of a lack of confidence when you don't have clear financials, clear reporting as far as making those big next steps in your business, or having clarity and confidence in where to go from here. So just a quick question to kind of get a little pulse check in the room is, how do you think, or if you already do have bookkeeping and you're getting clear financials, how do you think clean books and accurate financial reporting can help you grow your business? Do you have a bookkeeper, Tatiana, or what is your...
Yeah, we do have a bookkeeper, and we just transitioned from one to another and kind of
Okay,
establishing new procedures with her. So
cool.
yeah, definitely, I want to look more the numbers, have them more accurate, because that's what I was liking from the previous ones. It's we didn't have that accuracy, I feel. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a big one, right? It's like, well, if we have these reports, we want to be able to look at them and have confidence in them so that we can
Mhm.
actually use them to make this, to make decisions, see what's going on. Awesome. So our numbers tell three stories. So all of which can help us, we can leverage to help us grow. So the past, number one is the past. So our financial performance, right? This is going to be our profit and loss report, which y'all have probably heard of, or our income statement. This is what how your business is performing, right? So this is kind of historical data on a period, last month, last quarter, last year, right? What was the performance? What did we earn? What did it cost to earn that, right? What were expenses? And then what profit was generated from that revenue and expense. And then the present is our financial position. So this is the balance sheet. This one can get a little bit trickier, but this is an important piece of the financial reporting puzzle, because this tells us, what does our business currently own? What assets do we have? We want to keep this current. What do we owe? What liabilities do we have? Or, do we have withholdings that we need to pay out? Do we have credit card debt? Do we have, vehicle loans? And then what it's worth? That's our equity, right? So after all of our liabilities are paid off, what's left over and what's our equity? And then the future is taking these reports and being able to leverage those to build a clear and strategic roadmap to achieve your business goals. So all of these reports work together to give us a full and clear and clean picture. There are also a lot of other reports, but these are some of the most important reports to give us information on the performance of our business and the position of our business. Two important parts. So the profit and loss, study the past if you would define the future, right? So what happened? How can we improve? That is taking a look at our profit and loss report. So what does our profit and loss report tell us? We can get a lot of very valuable data from our profit and loss report. So we can compare periods, right? Year to year, month to month, quarter to quarter. Are we growing or are we just getting busier, right? Is our revenue going up? Are we efficient? Or are our expenses raising at the exact same that our revenue is, and our profit margins are staying the same, right? So we can kind of compare periods, which jobs and services are making us money. So if you have different segments, say you have cleaning, say you have interior cleaning and exterior cleaning, right? Some businesses have multiple segments. Working with your bookkeeper, you can actually start to get some of that split out on your profit and loss report and see what revenue was generated from segment A, what revenue was generated from segment B, what expenses, what cost of goods sold went to generating segment A revenue, what cost of goods sold or expenses went to generating segment B revenue. That's a simplified way of saying it, but it can give us, start to give us some information on profit margins in different ways. And then another really important thing that our profit and loss report tells us is, where is our money really going, right? So every single penny should be accounted for on our profit and loss. Every single expense that we have in our business should be accounted for on our profit and loss report. So that we can see, what are those subscriptions that we're paying for, what are we paying for in labor, and we can really see where is our money going. And then we can also leverage our profit and loss report to look at our busy and slow seasons, right? We can start to recognize patterns that we might want to try and resolve or even out, right? If we have seasonal patterns, we can kind of use this data to give us an idea of, fluctuations, and that can help us create different strategies to even those out or be able to cover our costs in a slow season. So about 20% of small businesses fail in their first year, 50% by year 5. But what I see with a lot of home service businesses is they kind of hit that plateau. So that kind of stuck in the truck, or that I'm unable to get to the next level plateau. So for businesses that succeed and grow year over year, take bookkeeping seriously, they really start looking at those numbers and they build a solid future plan with those numbers. So bookkeeping is a must, not just a nice to have. So quick little pulse check of just understanding our expenses, and there's no shame here at all. It's just starting to get us thinking of, do we know where our money's going? Do we understand what it costs us to run our business? So you can think about it. You can drop it in the chat. Does anyone know about their approximate overhead to run your business? Office expenses, maybe you rent a building, maybe you have to pay vehicle insurance, maybe you have to pay business insurance, you have different softwares and apps, you're paying your VAs, that would be your overhead costs, and kind of having idea of what does it actually cost me to run my business each month just in overhead costs. And then the next question, right, that our numbers can start to give us is, do we feel confident that our prices are appropriately covering those costs? How can we know if we're pricing correctly, if we don't really exactly know what those costs are, right? So another reason why bookkeeping can help us ensure that we're charging appropriately to cover the cost that it takes for us to run our business while still generating a profit, right? That's an important piece. Otherwise, why are we in business anyway? And then if we have multiple business segments, say we have exterior cleaning and interior cleaning, do we know what our average profit margins are in those different segments? And just thinking about, hey, as we're thinking these through, if we're answering like no or not really to any of these questions, how would better visibility into our numbers be able to empower us to feel confident in our pricing, feel confident in what our profit margins are and the direction that we want to take our business in? So that was the profit and loss report. Lots of important information on the profit and loss report, but there's this whole other report that's worth a shout out, and that is the balance sheet. So this is giving us information on our financial position. So profit and loss, performance, balance sheet, position. Those two things work together to give us a clearer picture of what is going on in our business. So the balance sheet is a snapshot of your financial position at any given point in time. It's a cumulative report that records your business's accounts over the entire course of the business. So your profit and loss is showing you information over a period of time, like last month, right? Oh, we just looked at June's profit and loss report, June's revenue, June's expenses, June's profit margin. The balance sheet is cumulative. So the balance sheet is going to say, this is how much you had, this is how much you owned in assets as of June 30th. This is how much you owe in your liabilities as of June 30th. And then this is what your equity is as of June 30th. So it's a little bit more cumulative. So assets, just to kind of further clarify on this particular report, our balance sheet, our assets are going to be the cash that we have in the bank, right? Vehicles or equipment assets that we might have. Plus money that customers still owe us, right? We can go collect that money and that is an asset on our balance sheet, right? It's owed to us. Liabilities are what you owe. So these are going to be, like I mentioned, loans, right? You have to pay those off. Credit card debt, right? That's a liability you might be carrying. Also accounts payable, which is money that you owe other people. So maybe you owe your vendors or suppliers money at this specific point in time. That needs to be paid off. And that, assets minus our liabilities is going to give us our equity, right? What's left over after we pull everything out and pay everything off. So that gives us an idea of where we are, what position we're in our business at that point in time. So we can use this information to think of, am I in the position to take on new debt, right? We're thinking about a hiring decision. Maybe we're thinking about taking on a new vehicle, expanding to a bigger office. So our balance sheet can kind of give us some information in, are we in a stable position to be able to do that? And that is different information than what we're seeing on the profit and loss report. So this is informing us in a different way with our decision making than strictly our performance in our business. Let's look at a little scenario. Hopefully I don't lose you guys in the sauce, right? Because it's like, oh, those two reports, that sounds really cool. But how can these two things work together to help me make a decision in my business, right? So hopefully we're starting to kind of get an idea of what this report tells me, and how that accurate information can give me the confidence to make the decisions necessary to grow my business or get into a better financial statement. So we've got an HVAC business. Marcus has an HVAC company. He grosses about $2 million a year. He has 4 trucks. He wants to add a 5th truck. He wants to hire a tech to run that truck. So here's how his 2 reports are going to kind of work together to answer that. So I'm going to take a look at first, we're going to look at our balance sheet. So number 1, can we survive this? are we in a position to take on this additional, financial responsibility, a new tech, a new truck, right? So first we want to look at our cash reserves, right? And so we know from our historical data on our profit and loss report, right, what a fully loaded truck roughly runs, right? So a fully loaded truck roughly 8,000 to 12,000 a month. Can we carry that for several months before that truck starts producing revenue, right? It's got equipment, it's got the tech in it. If we're not making revenue the moment we deploy that truck, how long can we carry that for, right? So what are our cash reserves? The next is existing debt. What loans do we already have outstanding on our other trucks? I guess we have 4 trucks, to show whether a 5th truck payment is going to push us into risky territory. So understanding what our debt load currently is. Equity trend, retained equity climbing is our retained equity, which is the money that we are our net profit from our profit and loss that the business is retaining. Is that growing month over month or quarter over quarter, giving us some information on how our equity is looking in our company. Moving over to the profit and loss, our revenue per truck, the 4 trucks average about 500,000 each over the year. This is inside our benchmark. So this is evidence of what those trucks are capable, based on our other 4 trucks, what that truck is capable of bringing in to our company over the course of a year, right? Evidence based on our other 4 trucks. We got that from our profit and loss reports, our historical data, right? We have a gross profit margin of 50%. So that would mean that if we bring in another 500,000 in revenue, that's 250,000 in gross profit. We've got our net contribution, so 120,000 a year for the truck and the tech. And so the 5th truck is going to contribute about 130,000 to our bottom line. And so his net margin is telling him whether he can absorb a slow first few months, right? So we're using all of this information to help us make a educated and data-driven decision on what to expect as we bring on this new truck, as we train this new tech, as we bring on more debt to our business. When can we expect to, can we carry this, essentially? Can we carry this decision? So the key point here is these reports work together to give you the confidence of, am I making a smart business decision based on data, right? The balance sheet is saying, yes, you can survive it. The profit and loss sheet is telling us, yes, this is worth doing. And together they turn into, hey, I think we're ready, backed by confidence in our numbers. All right, so a growth opportunity, right? Maybe you've been thinking of hiring a tech. Maybe you've been thinking of opening up a new office. Maybe you've been thinking of purchasing new equipment or something, a new piece of equipment, and you can open up another business segment or expand your service offerings. So thinking about a growth opportunity that maybe you're currently considering that you feel like your clean, accurate reporting can give you confidence in making. And I'm going to pick on you, Tatiana. I know you're thinking of right now bringing on like a more of an executive, or what was the hiring?
Yeah, executive assistant. That was exactly the situation. Like I was debating for a few months, should we bring them, should we not, we should be okay for now. And then, but then I started analyzing all the tasks that I'm doing and I pulled the trigger. But yeah, I did not consult with my accountant. I didn't make, I didn't discuss that with them. I just kind of, made the decision on myself. But now listening to you, I think it would be very important, like next time if any situation like this comes up, just to have another set of eyes and opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And it can really give you that confidence and help you set some goals, right? So it's like, hey, I'm bringing this assistant on. This is what it's going to cost me. How long can I float the cost of this assistant until they start generating additional revenue for me, right? And starting to look at in what ways are they going to be able to add revenue to your business, right? Or even down the line, do I need to plan on adjusting my pricing to absorb this cost? So your financial reports can give you all of that information and help you feel really confident in the decision moving forward. So hopefully, as you start to get more accurate reports, you'll be able to see this in action in your reports as well. So the third piece is leverage, right? So this is the future part. And we want a roadmap, right? We don't just want to be driving in the dark. We want to be able to leverage our numbers, right? We're paying a bookkeeper. We want more than just being tax ready, which is important. But we want to be able to actually leverage those reports for making business decisions. So 71% of fast-growing companies operate from a formal written plan. So this is a plan that's built on numbers, right? And this is how a goal starts to become a roadmap instead of just a wish, right? We're starting to actually plot out our roadmap. So clean numbers and financial reporting give your business options, right? So now we're starting to think of, hey, we've got our financial performance, we understand our financial position, right? Past, present, how can we leverage this for our future? So a lot of home business service.
Hey, Andrea, we're getting a little feedback, like a little static. I think it might be your papers. I'm not sure. Just a heads up.
It might be. I had to print my papers.
You're good.
Is
You're
it
good.
making noise when I'm not touching anything?
You're good now. Yeah. It's good.
Okay, thank you. So a lot of home service providers don't, whether they realize it or not, or are thinking about it or not, your business is going to probably be your biggest future asset, right? You spend all these years building a business, and then what? Maybe we want to sell it in the future, right? You might be ready to retire. You might be ready to sell your business. So understanding what's being built inside the business today is an important step towards creating your personal wealth for tomorrow, right? We're not in business to not make money, right? We want to build a better tomorrow. That's why we are business owners and we're creating and building our own business. So those two pieces are interconnected, right? Your business is your biggest asset and your future plan. So the goal isn't just to earn a good living from your business, it's also to build a business that's worth something when you're ready to step away, right? When that time eventually comes. And that means record keeping to make your business more attractive and infinitely more valuable to potential sellers or to who's potentially going to take on that business in the future. If we don't have any clean records or our records are a mess, that's going to significantly lower the value of our business when it's time to sell our business or think of the next step for our business. I don't know about y'all, but at some point in time, I would like to retire. Profit margins that meet our business goals. And we talked a little bit about this in one of the previous slides, but what are our profit margins and are they in alignment with what the goals are for our business? Are we basically getting out of the business what we want, right? If we're in business and we're not making any profit and we're not building any wealth for ourselves, we basically just own a job, right? So nobody wants to work forever, right? So we want to work smarter and not harder, and that is what quality bookkeeping can really give you insight into. Confident planning as well, like the scenario that we just went over. We want to be able to price our jobs and our flat rate services with confidence, strategically, and to make sure that we are covering our overhead, making the profits that we want, and giving ourselves the ability to expand in the ways that we want to expand our business. So we don't want to have a lack of strategy and kind of hit that plateau. And then goals you can actually hit, right? Clean numbers can give us goals that we can actually hit. So we can start to see, like in our scenario, what can a fully loaded truck bring in once it's efficient, it's trained, right? If we're seeing that one of our trucks is not bringing that in, we can identify that problem, we can fix that problem, and we can get closer to hitting the goals that we have. A goal without a plan is just a wish, is a quote that I have. So being able to create a data-informed plan is going to get you a lot closer to your goals than just making gut decisions along the way. All right, so as we're starting to wrap up, I've gone on and on about bookkeeping, which is my favorite subject, but how are we feeling getting a little bit more clarity in numbers? Do we feel like this would give you a better shot at hitting whatever your future business goals might be?
I know for me, they would. I saw Bob, you just jumped on too, so I know you're kind of coming in. We're already in, but yeah, I definitely know for me, like seeing the numbers whenever I opened up my QuickBooks and knowing they were accurate would make me feel a lot more confident about making decisions or like what direction to take the business.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is the whole point of accurate bookkeeping, right? We want to be confident that what our reports are telling us, what the data is telling us is true and correct, so that you can base your future decisions off of that. So just to reiterate, clean books create clarity, right? They create clarity. Clarity gives you confidence. Confidence in your pricing, confidence in your next business decision, confidence in growth and expansion, confidence in bringing on a new vehicle, right? Clarity also helps define your future, right? So just reiterating, the past is your financial performance, right? That's your profit and loss report is telling you how your business performed during a certain period of time. The present is your financial position, also equally as important, and that is your balance sheet. And then the clarity that those two reports give you, along with, I think QuickBooks Online, you can run like, there's like 350 or some crazy, there's tons of different reports that you can run to get different pieces of the puzzle to help you create a clear and strategic roadmap that's data informed, that you feel confident in pushing forward with, and you can sleep well at night, right? You don't have to be awake at night thinking, oh my gosh, was it the right decision to bring on this new truck? Oh my gosh, was this the right decision to bring on this new hire? When we have the data, we can move forward. We can spend less time worrying about our business decisions and feeling more time being confident in our business decisions because we looked at the data and the data is telling us what to do. All right, so I want to just leave a little bit of space for open Q&A. And if you are interested, so I'm a bookkeeper for trades professionals, home service providers. That's primarily who I work with. So if you are interested in talking with me outside of today's session, you should be able to scan this QR code. I actually haven't tested it yet, so let me know if you scan it and it doesn't work. But you should be able to scan this QR code and grab some time with me if you want to take a look, if you're serious about working with somebody who knows the trades businesses and how that business model is set up in bookkeeping. I would love to chat with you. I'm located in San Antonio, Texas, but I work nationwide. I haven't worked specifically with anyone in Canada yet, but you can always reach out to me, Tatiana, if you have questions. But I want to open up the floor. Does anybody have any questions about anything I covered or anything else related to bookkeeping?
I just have a question because I think people watching this back, Bob said not yet, but
Okay.
if someone's books are just like a mess, like they've been avoiding it, they really maybe have just been relying on their CRM, like it's been since the end of last year that they opened up their QuickBooks, like if it's really bad, right? Like, and they're almost afraid to look at it, like where do they start? Like what would you say to like take that over? Uh-oh, Bob. Okay. I didn't know. I wasn't trying to speak right to you, but like where do they start? Like what happens?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And number one, you have to start somewhere because it won't resolve itself, unfortunately. So I would get with a bookkeeper and see if they can either do a diagnostic, which means just take a little peek into what's going on. And there's really going to be a couple of options that's going to be based on, when the last time you filed your taxes are, did you use your books? How many years have you had your books? Has any work been done on your books in this last year? And you can either do a cleanup, so your bookkeeper can clean up that historical data for you and bring you up to speed, which, comes at a price, but might be worth it. Or And this would be a discussion that you'd have with the bookkeeper who's kind of taking a look at your books, or you might start a new set of books. If they're really messed up, you've never used them to file your taxes, you've never really done anything in them. So it's going to depend on, how many transactions do you have in there? How long has it been since you've done, any bookkeeping or had a bookkeeper? And just a conversation with the bookkeeper as far as what the status is and what they would suggest. So it's either going to be a cleanup or scrapping it and starting fresh. Yeah, and I've done lots and lots of very complex cleanups. And so in some cases, it's better to clean the books up. Maybe you had a bookkeeper or you were keeping up with your books for the first 4 years of your company, and then you just kind of let it slide for the last year or two. It might be worth just cleaning that up. Again, it's going to depend on the number of transactions that you have, the complexity, the integrations, is it integrated? So one of those two options.
Bob or Tatiana, I don't want to take up the time. I do have another question, unless you guys have a question you want to jump in on.
Don't be shy, y'all. It's your time to shine. All right, Bob's okay. Go ahead, Rebecca.
My other question is, I know a lot of people are hesitant to sync like House Call Pro or Jobber or something with their QuickBooks because they're like, oh, it's going to duplicate transactions. Everything's going to get messed up. So if they haven't done that, or maybe they have done it and it didn't go right, like, is there a good way to do that? Like, where did they start? And like, how can you help with that? Because I know that just causes a lot of stress and chaos sometimes.
Totally. So I highly, highly, highly recommend finding a bookkeeper who understands that integration. I.e., if you use House Call Pro, find a bookkeeper that's very familiar with that integration. Like me, for example, I am very familiar with the House Call Pro QuickBooks integration. And so it would depend on, have you connected it yet? And it just hasn't been being managed. Has it not been connected yet? And so whoever you work with is going to be able to help you sync and integrate that. I definitely recommend, if you're using a CRM like ServiceTitan or House Call Pro and you have QuickBooks, integrating those things together. Because you're invoicing and doing all that stuff through your CRM, that needs to speak to your QuickBooks, and you don't want to have to manually enter that. That integration in general works pretty well. If you have somebody who understands the integration, do it for you and work through that. So it's really important, I think, to find a bookkeeper who understands the integration and really understands how your business runs. But highly suggest, in most cases, it's kind of hard to give like an overall because everything is case by case, but in most cases, integrating is the way to go. And as far as like duplicating entries, that is why you want somebody who really understands that integration, who can go back and double check and make sure that things were not duplicated. If you haven't integrated yet, make sure when they are integrating, they're setting it up correctly so that it doesn't cause duplicate information. So yeah, you definitely want to just find someone who specializes in that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming from a coaching background too, and being part of small businesses and being I was a part of a management company that was buying businesses and helping people sell their businesses. Like, the first thing we ask for is like 3 to 5 years of P&L and like up-to-date balance sheet. And if that's not ready when we ask for it, like, we move on to the next thing to look to buy or sell, because we don't have the time to wait for them to get that stuff right. Like, we're ready to make decisions, or we had a potential buyer, or we have somebody else that has all their data together. And so we could just look at it and go, oh, pass, or yes or no. Mm-hmm. So like, from experience, when businesses didn't have this stuff, we were just passing, right? So if selling your business someday, or this is your retirement plan and you're banking on, hey, maybe I wasn't putting money aside while I was on the truck and running this business, and now I need to sell it because that's my retirement plan. If this stuff isn't in order when you get to that point, sellers are going to pass to someone who does have clean books that they can easily go, okay, this business doesn't have a lot of debt still. It's cash flow positive. There's opportunity for growth. Like, yes, it's worth what they're asking. So I just can't stress the importance enough of like having these books clean for your future.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, and I'll just reiterate that, Rebecca. It's a must for business growth. It's not a nice to have. Sometimes it's like, oh, it would be nice. It's like it really truly is a must if you want to strategically grow your business, if you ever want to sell your business. Also, it can help you be able to take out different loans and lines of credit, right? A lender is not just going to loan you money willy-nilly. They're going to want to look at your business financials, your financial position. So having these things ready. I've definitely have had businesses who were looking at bringing on a partner, and the partner, of course, is like, well, let me look at your financials. And I mean, if you have a big cleanup to do in your books, it could take a couple of months to clean those books up. And so, like Rebecca said, that partner or that opportunity might pass. And plus, it's like you're driving in the dark, right? If you don't have financials, you don't really kind of know, how is my business performing? What liabilities do I currently have? What assets do I have? So many different reasons for having clean books.
Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time out and presenting this, and we will be sending this out. So if anybody on the call wants to rewatch this or pick up on a certain part that maybe you missed, or I know Bobby came in a little late, so we'll make sure this gets to you. And definitely scan that QR code if you haven't. Make sure you reach out to Andrea for any more questions or to get your books ready to go.
Yeah, I was just making sure that works. I think it does.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And I can also, if you're interested, I can give you, if you want this presentation, if, because it's written, or you can just send the recording, but I'm happy to share if that's helpful too.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for having me, Ninja VA team.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Tatiana.